at the resources that Flumph Inc. is able to put together, considering that they had Seeker revived so quickly. And he asks about that first. That's what Seeker answers? We're beloved around the city? Mm-hmm. He shakes his head and says, I've seen men that I've loved die in battle against sea monsters, against buccaneers, against the horrors of the deep. And some of these men I've loved enough to invest the resources into reviving them. And others, though I loved them dearly, were not worth the expenditure.
He would likely, the good captain would already likely, given enough time in the city, would have caught wind of the name of a man who spends money like it's water. We have a patron by the name of Corio Fireblood.
You hear Gus whisper, "Deader."
You have a sugar daddy.
Would not put it in those terms, but essentially yes.
Does the name Fireblood mean anything to you?
The name Fireblood is very famous in certain parts of the world. No doubt you've heard the tales, and he recounts the story about how Eldov and his weird hut split the continent in half in an attempt to make a river.
I heard that, yes.
If they had a house here in Dunfoss.
Were you not here when Juliana the First was ascended to the throne?
No.
Let's see if he would have been.
No.
Remember, though, it wasn't Juliana's ascension where that vote that you're looking for was cast. It was the previous... There was 5 kings before that.
Oh, right.
The previous...
My bad.
House Humber.
Lucius wouldn't make a mistake.
He wouldn't have...
Yeah, no, Lucius would not.
Ten Sails wouldn't have been alive when Juliana took the throne. But he was apparently very close to her while she ruled. She ruled for 40 years, so she was there for a good long time. He says there's 2 things that he's learned since he's stepped foot back in the city of Dunfoss after being away for so many years. The first thing is that somebody is trying to kill him.
Not just you, but others in the city.
The second thing is that he wants Flumph Inc.'s public endorsement for his ascension to the throne.
Florian lifts an eyebrow at that.
Now he takes notice of your lifted eyebrow, but he waits for a verbal response from someone.
Gus,
well, then what are your policies?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yes, what do you mean?
Lucius says, we're an investigative body. We solve the crimes that are either beneath the notice or beyond the capability of groups such as Hawthorne House or the Moss Cats.
Dun, dun.
Glad to hear it, and I have every intention on enlisting your aid in finding the man who's trying to kill me. But that's not the question that I asked. What do you mean by policy?
And what we're asking is how does Flumph Inc. benefit from this with you on the throne?
You're asking how do you benefit from a friend being on the throne?
Gus is shaking his head. No.
Having a personal ally
Alex too.
sit the throne. The most powerful man in Dunfoss, with resources far in excess of, indeed, the sitting king or any of the previous 3. How does this benefit you?
How does it benefit the city?
He asks Lucius, well, it benefits the city because... make an insight check.
Actually, I wanna get a good read on this guy. I'm gonna say I rolled a 22.
Okay.
That's why I wasn't able to save myself, is I rolled really high.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you had 6 blips.
Eh,
Yeah, everybody has, and nobody spending blips, so.
you didn't hear me complaining for other people to spend them either.
Here's
Fine.
what you know. Juliana died in 1352 is the year. That's when he sailed away. The next king ruled for like 6 years, and he sucked. Iriadul the Scion. The next king was Catsbin IV. He set sail and never came back. Then Maximilian took the throne 12 years ago. He didn't return to Dunfoss at all while Iriadul or Catsbin ruled, and didn't come back at all until word started to spread beyond Dunfoss that Maximilian lay sick, lay dying, or maybe was dead. You could just tell talking to the man there's no love lost between him and Maximilian, although you don't yet know why. He does start to explain about how Dunfoss used to have a fine tradition of maritime trade, how they used to have a wonderful standing navy, they had military might that they could extend out into the sea, and then Maximilian has allowed that to lay fallow in the times, because he was, as a dwarf, he turns his attention to the earth. The earth is filled with riches and filled with treasures that you can work to take out of the ground, but the sea is filled with treasures you merely need to take.
Lucius looks to Alexander. Then, if that's what you wish, if that's what you want to project again, then I think my friend Alexander here has made some inroads with a merfolk man, a noble that lives in the bay, I guess.
Merfolk
I've been there myself.
are flighty and irrelevant creatures. And I have no truck with them.
So let's talk politics here for a second. Journey wants all magic users basically to be under surveillance at all times. Percival Penniless, from my understanding, wants the common people to have bread in their bowls every day. Surefoot, I don't actually know what he wants aside from power, and I think the same kind of goes for who's the other? Jody Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want for the city aside from a return to the Navy?
First, he addresses the names you said.
Mm-hmm.
He says that Journey will not be king. He'll see to it. Journey, his understanding, talks about limiting the use of magic and the responsible use of magic, and perhaps she believes there's wisdom to those words, but all I need do is use brightly colored cantrips and thaumaturgy to sway the masses and get their opinion back behind a glorious return to the magical might of Dunfoss.
Speaker nods. That sounds right.
Lucius gives a little bit of a same kind of flourishing gestures that he gave when he first delivered his message to his underlings.
Alex, make an insight check.
Sure. I believe that's 19? 18.
Okay. In no uncertain terms, he's not making a value judgment about the use of magic and about Journey's stance versus his stance. He's telling you flat out, this is her argument for the masses. I'm going to use sparkly lights, and everybody's going to be impressed.
Right.
He's telling you this is how it's going to go. Journey cannot be the next king. He's going to see to it. Percival Penniless should not even be in the running. He's the son of a nobleman, is my understanding.
Exiled, kicked out of his house, as I understand it. I'm not familiar with the...
Exiled, disowned. These things
Yeah.
can become confused over the years, and a few silver coins in a few hands will make the paperwork or the memories of the bureaucrats involved in these decisions fuzzy on whether or not Percival Penniless has actually been disowned or still stands to inherit his father's estate. And if he does, second or fifth or 18th son though he may be, he may not be chosen by the Court of Commons. Upon my death, 150 years hence, if Percival Penniless is still alive and chooses to vie for the throne when the Court of Nobles, the Court of Lords, once again makes a selection, he is free to do so, and he has my blessing.
Is this guy human?
Yes. And he's saying he's going to be around 150 years from now.
Lucius looks really dubious at that.
How old
He
is
doesn't say it. He doesn't say it, but you can tell that. And actually, no, he'll say, "Begging your pardon, Captain, but as far as you look human enough, but I don't see how you could possibly, because they don't live much longer than my kind."
Although Fireblood was a half-elf. And a half-elf is a human with better hair and pointy ears. And he embarked on a journey to split the continent in half for his own devices. Tell me what humans can and can't do.
So, I guess I have one further question, though. So I'm doing the math in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way I figure, 50 gold for the poorest off in the city, that's 8 months, 8 months worth of hard labor would earn them about 50 gold pieces. Sounds great for the common people, but how do you keep inflation from just putting all that money back into the pockets of the wealthy? How do we keep it from suddenly a bowl of onion soup costs 4 silver?
He tells you these are trivial and trifling matters that neither he nor you need concern yourself with.
We live here. We buy onion soup. It's a concern.
And he tells you when he sits the throne, you'll have all the onion soup you can eat. The finest onions from the finest onion gardens. I don't know where onions come from. I have more important things to worry about. I tell the men to make them appear on my plate, and so they do.
Is that going to be your ruling style? You tell people what to do, they do it?
He asks, is there any other ruling style?
And Seeker shrugs. He just says, Seeker's not sure. Seeker's not a king.
It's not a king's place to be a hand for every single thing that happens within his domain.
It's a king's. Go ahead.
The Jarl of Kiska is in control of many things, not all of which require his personal attention or blessing.
Why do you want to be king?
Well, the king sits in the nicest chair and wears the biggest hat. Why wouldn't you want to be king?
Seems like an important job and everyone hates you for it.
He asks you if you've ever tried captaining a pirate ship.
Nope.
He tells you the difference between being king of Dunfoss and being a captain aboard a pirate ship is that once the king of Dunfoss is selected, they cannot be removed except by a great show of force. On a pirate ship, it means only a simple majority vote. At least that's how it works aboard the Whistler. If at any point his men thought him incompetent or incapable, they could replace him and select from amongst themselves a new captain.
Except during battles, I believe.
That sounds like a useful rule, and it seems like something that you have some experience in. Are you planning on making that be how it works during your rule? If people want to vote you out, can they?
He thinks about it. And you can tell this is a question he hasn't considered, because he leans back in his chair. And you see a smirk cross his face. He says, there are a great many things that I will change in Dunfoss when I am king. I don't imagine anyone will consider me incompetent at the task. But draft me a contract. Show me how the transfer of power would work. Make an insight check.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Is that a real 20? That's a real 20.
Yay!
You can see the gears turning in his head, and you can tell that there's some hidden insidious reason why he's asking you to do this. Like, wait, he seems awfully gung-ho about this, and then it hits you. If Maximilian is alive, and you draft this idea that the current king can be voted out and replaced, he might actually march up to the palace and demand to enact that sort of rule right now, whether or not Maximilian is dead.
Seems reasonable. And at that, Secret just shrugs and says, I don't have any problem saying that I'm behind you.
He says, listen, my friends, I hear your concerns, but I assure you, it's purely academic. I will sit the throne, with or without your assistance, with or without your friendship. Your decision is, are you on board or not? If you are, I will require you to make public statements to that effect. Let the people of Dunfoss know that the heroes of High Courts Harbor stand behind Captain Tensails. If you're not, you may go your own way, and I bear you no ill will. But see that you do not cross my path.
May we confer before we make our decision?
He says you have until Maximilian dies at least. And he says this with some amusement. So on to the other matter. There's a rotten bastard in Dunfoss who's trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Bloke by the name of the Flying Pig.
He's taking shots at the other candidates as well.
He tells you that the horses he took aboard, he stayed very briefly. A small port town whose name is inconsequential for now, far to the north, where the forests are very, very thick. But there are one or two ports along the way. And a mysterious stranger came aboard his vessel. And he describes this man as being very similar to himself, in that he liked vibrant colors, and that he was very upfront about what he wanted. He wanted to commission the Whistler to go on a conquest of a particular merchant trade route in Keyskin waters, which Captain Tensails may or may not have considered doing, but he had more pressing matters to get to Dunfoss. So they didn't come to an arrangement, but as a way of thanking him for his time, he gave the captain pick of two of his horses. And the captain, of course, picked the two finest horses, a male and a female. Brought them aboard his vessel.
Question for Lucius.
Yeah.
Did Lucius tell us about the Keyskin ambassador sailing from Keyska?
Yeah. Lucius would have shared that.
I wonder, and Gus is going to wonder out loud, I wonder if this mysterious stranger tried to hire the good captain here to kill the new Keyskin ambassador.
You're asking that out loud?
Yeah.
No, he was hiring him to disrupt a particular trade route in Keyskin waters. Spices and silks and things like that. Had nothing to do with the ambassador, as far as you know.
Lucius holds up his hand and tries to shush Gus away from that particular line of conversation.
I mean, it's no secret that the Keyskin ambassador is sailing. This is...
Oh yeah, no. Well, I mean, that's because I don't want him to look too closely into this, because Lucius knows some things, and by extension, the party knows some things, and he's kind of a mind that he wants to know who this new ambassador is, because apparently this new ambassador is in the pocket of the Flying Pig, and Lucius wants to keep that under his hat for now.
Okay, well, it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what was the gentleman's name that spoke with you?
His name was Dianar. That was the name he gave him, at least. He assumes it wasn't his. He assumes it wasn't his proper name. He assumes it was an alias.
Well, even an alias might come in handy, because people tend to use similar. They use the same names over and over again.
Really?
People that aren't weirdos like Seeker in the.
The Seeker in the Dark.
Isn't that right, Florian?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, Captain.
I'll,
As opposed to pretty much anyone else we've talked to in these positions, you're at least willing to flat out state that you'd like us to endorse you, and I'm personally willing to go along with it because I agree. I don't think Journey should be in charge. I don't mean Penniless any ill will. I think he has the heart in the right place, and I don't particularly have a strong feel for the other three.
3, 2.
I am somewhat curious, though. Do you have an artificer aboard your ship who built some of these things you've been using? The Phoenix and the
arm.
Wirecaster, I would call it?
He says that the men aboard his ship have many talents.
Well, I mean, if at some point I wouldn't mind a little bit of exchange of knowledge. My own laboratory is pretty.
And he's already shaking his head. He says, if you would ask of me as a price for your fealty, that has a nice ring to it. I will commission you one of these devices at no small cost to myself if it will help solidify our arrangement.
It's a bit awkward. I think I kind of prefer my gun. I was just more curious if you wanted to maybe just, exchange of formulas, that sort of thing. Some more of the baseline theories to work out new inventions.
Because not long ago, a man stood before me and offered me a gift of knowledge. I told him if he could tell me something I didn't know, I would give him a platinum bar. And he told me something I thought that I knew, but which turned out to be something I did not.
Lucius smiles.
Sounds like you owe him a platinum bar.
He tells Alexander, if you can bring the alchemists aboard the Whistler, which is moored for the time being in its rightful place at the dock. If you can bring the alchemists aboard the Whistler a formula or a schematic for a device that they do not already possess the knowledge of, that he would pay dearly for it.
Okay.
Lucius smiles and says, speaking plainly, I've had an opportunity to take a measure of you, and I am impressed personally. Personally, I would not mind seeing you seated at the throne. But since you're asking for the endorsement of Flumph Inc., that would require an agreement among my friends and I.
Who else did we speak to?
Lucius looks around at the others.
Let me offer you a different perspective of the events that I've seen today.
Let's hear it.
Woke up this morning, made our way to the harbor.
Yeah.
What did we see? Saw a very rich man in a very extravagant boat burst his way through the High Court's harbor, exploding a whole bunch of other boats.
He is grinning immensely.
Proceeded to force his way into the harbor, let loose 2 steeds who are going to wreak havoc in the harbor, killed an innumerable amount of people, including one of my associates here in Flumph Inc.
Don't worry about that one.
I counted 6. Certainly not innumerable.
Well,
Do you suppose I'm in trouble?
no, I don't suppose you're in trouble at all. But what I see is a person coming in, pretending they're of the common folk, when all I see is someone who is just a wannabe noble. Throwing money around, getting commoners to fight each other. I have no reason to give you any sort of endorsement.
My friend, I am not one of the common folk. I am the least common man you're likely to ever meet. The commons are easily swayed. The opinion of the masses is a malleable thing. Surely you know this.
Florian doesn't reply to that.
Okay. Here's something that I've learned in my many adventures on the high seas. The world contains many truths. A man need only identify that which is his truth and reach out and seize it. To the common people of Dunfoss, the truth is that I am a strong and courageous hero, someone from their past, someone who they remember from better times, somebody who flooded the streets with gold and will do so again. Can you dispute this is the truth?
Like I said, I could spin it another way of a very hostile man exploding into the harbor and indiscriminately killing people because he wants to sit on the throne. Does that really make you a hero?
He says, here's what I propose. I will take to the streets with my story, with my truth, with the might and resources of the Whistler behind me, and you take to the streets with your truth, with... And he looks at the other four of you. I'm not sure what you have exactly. Oh, a patron. That's right. A man you are indebted to. And we'll see whose truth takes hold.
And yet, no more than 5 minutes ago, you were asking for our endorsement. And this is how you really think of us.
He says it's important to not overreach one's own station. To know the limitations of your powers and your abilities. It's true, he underestimated Lucius when he stepped aboard his ship. I took him for a jester, if I'll be honest. I played a little game with him and had some fun. And it's true that you wield... I assure you, Captain Ten Sails is not concerned about whether he's offended you.
That's fine. We'll see how things shake out.
He tells you are men of considerable power and resources in your own rights. But that it's very important that you not consider yourselves more powerful than you are. Learning his own limitations was one of the first things he had to do, and this was before he was able to become the hero of his own adventures.
On the contrary, Captain Ten Sails.
Mr. Captain.
Mr. Captain.
You call him
Captain
Mr.
Ten
Captain.
I assure you, Captain Ten Sails, I have a very good perception of who exactly we are.
What is your
and who
perception?
exactly you are. 14.
This is more like an insight, though.
He tells you that if he told the masses that Flumph Inc. backed him for king, they would believe him. And that makes it the truth. What you think about the subject is really irrelevant. I would rather have you as an ally than not, and I certainly don't want you as an enemy. But I'm moving forward, with or without you. If you will not assist me in finding this flying pig, I have my own resources I can bend to that in that direction.
We're already hunting.
I'm sorry
With
if you can hear my
respect
dog,
to
by
that.
the way.
Well, the
With
matter of
respect to that.
investigating the frying pig is a different matter than backing you.
What was
We
Lucas
don't-
saying?
With respect to the flying pig, I obviously I don't truck to Hawthorne House completely, just cutting us out of that case completely. And Lucius will explain what he means by that. That the Hawthorne House has said, "All right, guys, you're off this case because real people are going to deal with this now."
Here's what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
I'm going to offer you 2,500 pieces of gold or equivalent value in treasure or mechanisms of your choice that are within my power to grant. In return, you are going to see this investigation into the flying pig through, remove him as a threat to my person. This will free me up to pursue my own goals without having to worry about assassins lurking in the dark or taking the form of horses aboard my ship. My men will take to the streets and whatever flop houses or hostels they end up at while on shore. Some of them may desert me. Not every man aboard my ship is appreciative of my rule. But these men will begin to speak about the heroes of Highcourt Harbor who slew the great beasts. Nobody yet has mentioned that you guys also have kind of a reputation with Penniless. Is that correct? So he doesn't know that yet, is that right?
Yeah.
No.
Nobody's mentioned that yet.
They're going to mention these heroes as being behind the ascension of Captain Tensails to King, and I will leave it up to you to dispute those rumors when they start to come out. It would look very foolish if you did. A man hears that Flumph Inc. backed Captain Tensails, and Flumph Inc. shows up and says, no, we don't actually back Captain Tensails, even though he's the rich hero that everybody loves and is showing up and is going to sit the throne next. But that's your prerogative, and I leave you to it. Do the terms sound fair?
Sure,
How much
we'll write up the
gold was
contract.
it? Out of character?
2,500.
He's offering 2,500 or equivalent value in treasure that is in his power to give.
I mean, I feel like I can speak for at least Seeker and say that sounds like a very reasonable rate.
Is Seeker the one who sets the rates?
Mostly.
You set the rates and you die for your cause. A multi-talented man.
That's what makes me multi-talented, Gus.
So how will you
And
accept
Seeker-
payment?
Seeker pulls out a contract,
Okay.
begins penciling in the details.
He gives you the name of his ship's quartermaster, which I have somewhere, but I don't have in my notes. I don't have to hand. Or maybe I didn't come up with a name for the quartermaster yet. But he says that he will handle the details. He's the man in charge of the ship's stores. He's the man who can pay out booty.
Because it's a important matter, though, I have to ask for one more thing in addition to this, which is that if during the course of our investigations we find that we need information that you or your crew possess in order to take out this flying pig, you're willing to provide it, as long as you agree that we need the information.
That sounds reasonable.
Right.
So the only other matter we need to discuss today is the matter of your reward for your valor, your courage, and your strength. You defended lives. You defended my men. You defended my ship. What will you have of me?
Did he specifically leave out you defended Dunfoss?
He's not king of
He was
Dunfoss
it.
yet. Dunfoss is not
He
his
said
responsibility
lives. Lives are part of Dunfoss.
yet. Roll an insight check. I'll let you see if you can pull the whole meaning out of that.
Because Lucius is of a mind that, you know, if it's all well and good, but if he's not actually for Dunfoss, then what business does he have to be king? That's a 14.
14. He did not specify you've defended Dunfoss, but the thing is that's not his job right now. He's a privateer that's just pulled into the dock.
Okay, that's fair.
If he sits the throne, then it becomes his responsibility to defend Dunfoss. It becomes his responsibility essentially to organize Dunfoss's military. But yeah, he asks, what will you have of him by way of reward?
And Seeker looks at the others and says, you mentioned that you were something of a hero and adventurer yourself in your past days. Is there anything that you could provide for us that you think
my
would
past days?
Right,
He looks
right
a
now
little-
you're a captain and a
he
king.
looks a little
That's surely
insulted.
more than an adventurer.
He tells you that
As in,
he will only
the day
discuss
before.
his past days when he is dead.
Fair enough. Is there anything that you think was particularly helpful to you during your time? Any bits of treasure that you could provide for us that would be helpful in ours? In our starting days, of course.
He thinks about it a moment.
But we're not adventurers.
Shut up. He doesn't have a good magnifying glass. I mean, he might, but...
He gives it some thought. And he said, you mentioned your patron is Choreo Fireblood?
Yes.
Gus grumbles.
He says, I have something you may want. But it is a precious thing. And I think it is more expensive than the reward I was thinking of offering to you. I think if I give you this thing as reward for your actions today, it would leave you in my debt.
On the other hand, one could argue that we saved the lives of your crew and perhaps your own. Would you ascribe it as more valuable than that?
Yes.
More valuable than his own life. Wow.
He gonna give us the fucking hut.
Gives you the hut keys and he wanders off.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Just where my mind went.
Well, what is it then?
So I will confer with my quartermaster on the subject. Where are your premises here in Dunfoss? Where can I send men to if I have need of you?
Seeker hands him a
Barge in
business
the
card.
shallows.
Oh,
Live on a boat.
you live on the garbage barge over in the worst part of town. Okay.
No, I would say Wharf Town is the worst part of town.
Warstown has this like poo orange outline. We have this nice blue outline.
Also, no, without a doubt, this little crater is the worst part of town.
It's pretty bad.
Lucius
Just
says,
dirt around
I did.
crater? Yeah.
I did say that we did keep our premises in the shallows. Yes.
I mean, I'm straight up giving him a business card. It's got a little map on it.
Okay.
Some of the people we give those business cards who can't read, so they need the map.
So, here's my next question. Other than Eric's Staff of Thunder, what item or artifact from the first campaign has Captain Tensails come into possession of that he might offer you as this great reward?
Ooh.
I'd like to point out
Wow.
that he didn't exclude the hut.
Captain Tensails definitely does not have the hut.
He's got a jack on it.
He's just towing it behind his boat.
Yeah.
Khalil's silver eye was pretty
I
rad.
was thinking Khalil's eye. But who the hell wants to put that in their fucking head?
Seeker will do it. Seeker doesn't care.
Sorry, I'm cursing too much.
Canonically, I don't think Khalil did have his eyes in the second campaign.
Oh,
did not.
Yeah, he was
no, I thought
blind without eyes. Yeah,
His eyes his eyes were stone when we met him
Gross.
yeah.
at the bottom of the prison.
That's right.
Seeker will put any kind of dumb eye in any kind of dumb head.
What other relics were there? There
Terran's
was
cloak of etherealness. Probably not the best thing to have in this world.
There was the
Well,
really
yeah, no.
there was the really bad Iron Stone. It sucked.
Yeah, no, we're not giving that one.
Curse and Ion Stone. I remember that now. That's good stuff.
Gauntlets of ogre power.
Terrence gauntlets, that's right. He had those. They were Eric's. They were Adric's originally, but
Yeah.
you know.
No,
things
Adrix
happen.
was last campaign.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
So what he's telling you
Sorry.
is he has some kind of artifact that either Eldov or one of his companions once possessed.
Yeah.
The only thing off the table, I mean, the hut is definitely not on the table. The only thing that's off the table is Eric's Staff of Thunder, because that became kind of a holy relic in the Church of Osprum, and it was stolen, and nobody knows where it ended up.
There was a wizard in y'all's group, wasn't there? Or was it just a sorcerer?
Sorcerer and a warlock.
Sorcerer wizard, but wizard was in
Liberation.
very low case letters.
Out of character, Liberation had that staff last.
Yeah,
Liberation.
Zook stole it. That's
Yeah, Zook stole it.
Yep. Zook stole it for Liberation.
That stuff gets passed around.
So, but he's saying that this relic is so powerful, such a strong piece of magic, that just giving it to you guys as a reward for one occasion of courage and valor might be overreaching.
Unless he's exaggerating, I think the only thing that fits is the eye. Because everything else we got wasn't really that valuable. Like, there was some stuff that was cool, but, like, there was that rad staff, and then there was the eye.
I'm trying to remember what everyone
What does
else
the eye
had.
do?
I don't know. I have stats for it somewhere, but that was
Yeah.
5 campaigns ago.
The eye, what it did was it gave a human man the ability to see dark vision, see in magical darkness. I think
It had
And,
that, and it had
it-
another function. It had like a light switch function you could turn on and off.
he could cycle between several other allies and see through their eyes.
Seems
That
pretty
I
good.
remember, because I remember we used that a lot in the huts to like. So Khalil
Secret does that
keep
with
an
his
eye on it.
familiars.
Let's be honest, like Gus doesn't really care about any of this stuff, and like
Honestly, Khalil Silver Eye is pretty rad.
There's no like armor or anything, huh?
I mean, the stuff I can remember is,
That was all in the second campaign.
did Taran have a cloak of resistance?
No, you got
No, he had a
resistance as...
He had a cloak of etherealness, he had a +1 longsword, and he had a warlock +1 rod.
Yeah.
Where's the tuned items? I don't remember any of the other characters.
Khalil just had the eye.
what did Zook have?
Did Zook have a magic bow?
He had Lulupihu Luluwile, the amulet.
Oh,
That's right.
That amulet's pretty broken.
That's a
The-
pretty
And Brickler
good
did
artifact.
promise never to let us have that artifact again. And yet,
Yeah, that's true. Improved invisibility is probably about right.
that's gotta be it, right?
Yeah, it would have to be.
It's gotta be it.
I think that
Yeah.
has to be it.
Here's the
That's
implication of that. Because Zook still had that as of Flumphscape, which was,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, between 60 and 80 years ago from here.
Yeah.
So the implication is that somewhere along the line, Captain Ten Sails took it from Zook somehow.
Is Zook still alive?
Or someone else took it from Zook and Captain Tinsales took it from them.
Or Captain
Or
Ten Sails
Zook.
fucking killed Zook.
Or Zook tripped and lost it.
Zook fell off a dragon and dropped it.
I think. Wow, I can't remember my character's name.
Eric,
No,
That wasn't it.
Kilian.
the evil one, Keelan. Wow, my memory's going to be old. Keelan had was given Terran's sword at the end, if I remember correctly. Because I remember Keelan going, "What the hell am I gonna do with this?" So I used a crossbow.
So all those artifacts just got passed around. They're like party favors.
We're just recycling magic items. So is that the decision? We're going to go with... What was an amulet that Zook had, correct?
Yeah, it's gotta be that amulet.
We just kill Zook.
Eh. I'm gonna be honest with you. In my mind, Zook lost it. Or gambled it away.
Now here's the other half of this. If Zook is still alive, and he finds out you guys have his amulet, he might just take it back.
His
And
amulet.
then how will you find him? He has a broken invisibility amulet. You'll never see him again.
Oh, I'm gonna see through invisibility fairly soon. I already do.
So is
Not
that
the
the
familiar.
decision? You want the invisibility amulet?
Yeah, I think that's gotta be it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in that campaign of the staff really level.
Okay. I sort of heard that.
More than your character's life.
Destil, you are very robot.
That's weird. Could be a connection issue.
I think it's the server.
Okay.
I'll swap
Yeah,
it.
like
It's
a-
fine.
He's
Everything's
gonna send word out to your garbage barge.
The houseboat.
Within 1 day. Is there anything else that you want with 10 sails before he goes to bed? Because he got a little bit mauled by horrible creatures.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. So did I.
Well, poor you two.
Okay.
I was including you in that.
Is anybody else doing anything else at all today?
Lucius wanted to head by 56 cards and see if Father Oliver had gotten his ring back, and to also let him know that he delivered the message that he was asked.
Oh, right. You totally arranged a hit.
Yeah, that is a thing I did.
Forgot about that.
And Oswald tells you he might need a couple more days.
All right.
Because this literally happened.
Yesterday, I think.
It was yesterday, I think. You went out and did that.
Well, Tesla, if you want to work on that book, I'm willing to assist you on it.
I need a long rest really badly. I used
can
all my
do it during a
resources
long
in that
rest.
fight.
Yeah, you can do this during a long rest.
Oh, I thought it was instead of.
No, it's
recovering.
instead of doing other stuff during a
Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Then I will absolutely take a shot at that book.
and I'll help you
You're
out.
gonna assist, and I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. Was this just a straight intelligence?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Nice!
So that's a 29.
That's the maximum roll, man.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's a 29. Yep.
29, so that's 19 riddles you get solved.
Burn through a lot of
Minus the
riddles.
ones that got pulled out of Seeker's brain when Florian was bothering him.
We got like 8 riddles because they all involved getting mauled. And we're like, we know that one.
And then I can do the long rest benefits.
Yep. So go ahead and take the benefits of the long rests.
Yep.
We're going to call it there for the week, but the next day, at some point, Lucius,
Yeah.
you do receive word from Oswald that he wants to see you.
Okay.
We'll actually play that out next week. Also,
Also.
tomorrow morning, which again, we'll take care of this next week, but it happens in the morning, you get a letter from your father.
Oh, cool.
And it's pretty to the point, because last time you sent him a letter, you kind of explained a little bit about, oh yeah, I live on a boat with some dudes, and we're detectives, and we inspect things. And very curt and to the point. Tells you that within the month, he expects the Keyskin ambassador will arrive. Before the new ambassador gets to Dunfoss and gets himself situated, he wants you to have eyes in place at that office.
All right, I can do that.
Not literal eyes.
He spends all next day just carving eyes out of people. Also, the next morning, you receive... I'm going to have to search... I don't have stats for this amulet on this laptop. They were on an old laptop.
We have a busy day.
You do receive a parcel from Ten Sails that contains the amulet, with the understanding that it is more valuable than the service you provided yesterday. So he considers this to leave you in his pocket, at least a little bit.
Fair.
He'll let you know if he needs you for something. And it contains a platinum bar.
Yay!
Is that the 2,500 gold he promised to pay us?
No, that's the platinum bar he said he was going to give Lucius if you gave him knowledge that he didn't already have.
So, I'm happy. I'm happy that happened.
He is a man of his word, if nothing else.
Yeah. That's really got Lucius. That really, yeah, he really does. Respect
So
him
is
for that.
Florian the only one who doesn't like this guy?
No, I don't like him either. I think he's a bully, and I just didn't say anything because
All right.
You didn't want to
Like,
get
I didn't-
bullied?
no, I didn't get the chance.
And look,
Like-
Florian,
Florian was going off on him.
if you don't like him, look, I am willing to endorse him personally and not as Flumph Inc. if it's not unanimous. Like, I'm not going to drag Florian into it.
Like,
But so far, I like him better than any of the other people running for king.
There is a true sentiment to that, unfortunately. If there is a
So-
king who will let us operate in peace, so far, he seems like
him.
the best candidate.
Right. You know what? That's the best I can do. Like, he holds his current position through favor of his crew. That's not bad.
I mean,
All kings suck.
Yeah, no, you're dead right, Seeker. Our job is just to find the thing that sucks the least.
so that's actually was going to be my second point on that. I don't like him as an individual, but that doesn't mean he won't do a good job as a king. And his stated goals are to basically leave people more or less alone. Like,
Well, his stated
Although-
goal was he was going to give every man and woman in Dunfoss a chest with 50 gold pieces in it, if
Yeah, but
they
that's-
supported him for king.
Then
Right.
do we commission a replica of his flag to hang at our mast?
no,
No.
we already have this ugly freaking painting.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's kind of where we're at right now. We don't want to.
Lucius,
Yeah,
a platinum bar is worth 500 gold pieces.
booyah! That's going in the company coffers.
Better not, that's yours. You earned that shit.
Yep.
I wouldn't share that with these assholes.
Nope.
That covers half your guild dues.
Are his guild dues 1,000 gold?
No, they aren't. They're
I
Half
like
a
thought they were
year.
like 50 a month.
they're like 45 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we've got 53 riddles left in the book. We've got 3 Raise Dead freebies left.
Mm-hmm. Raise Seeker freebies.
I think you've got like 6 days until Potion Day.
We really
What's
need
today's
potion.
date? I've kind of lost track at this point.
It'll be the 22nd when we pull it up next week.
Okay.
Because
Did we ever?
the morning of the 22nd, a couple things happened. That's where Lucius got his letter and got word from Oswald that he wanted to see him.
This is month 2, right?
Month 2?
Yeah. Since we started the
yes,
campaign,
it is.
did we ever get potions for month 2?
I'm sure you did, because it was towards the beginning of the month. That was 3 weeks ago. That would have been about the time you fought the Blood Leeches.
Yeah. Because we used like 20,000 potions in the Blood Leech fight.
It was around that time. Alright, well, I'm going to go dark for 2 minutes so I can set up a straw poll and add up a whole bunch of experience points. And I'll be right back.
Mhm.
So, who was most creative today?
I got nothing. Sorry.
All right, who furthered the party's goals the most today?
Lucius for talking
Lucius.
to. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, with respect, I was going to put myself forward for having the chutzpah to step onto the deck of a pirate ship.
But instead, you got it for party goals.
Okay, and who's badass?
I would.
Let's-
I don't want to give it to Seeker for dying because he just kind of stood there. It's not like
no,
he
I
did-
was going to give it to Gus. Because
Yeah,
Gus is the
I
one who
was gonna
ran
say
up
for
into the
Gus
middle of
for
all
actually-
the two boys.
Actually
Yeah.
being there in the fight.
And put yourself in between them and the civilians. That was good to me.
For
Okay.
intangibles, I would give that to Seeker because he did a lot of work to get those innocents out of there. Like he
I was
stretched.
going to give it.
He
I was gonna give it to
stretched-
Secret
he-
because he was so silly this session.
He stretched the action economy to its breaking point, and that has to be respected.
How about we give him that for creative, and then give Florian the intangibles for his rant against Captain Tincells.
Sounds good to me.
He's just speaking the truth as he sees it.
No, that did cross
I will
Gus's
reward
mind
you
too.
for that.
It crossed my mind as a player. I'm like, well, if I wanted to look like a hero in front of the common man, I would be seen fighting a bunch of monsters.
He's just biting my style because he's just doing all the stuff I said I was going to do last session. He's just a copycat.
Loose the monsters. He's responsible. He can't be a badass when he's setting loose the monsters. That's not how it works.
All right. So the benefit of having a combat where people get killed in one hit is taking down 2 CR8 monsters means lots of experience points. I'm splitting the experience points 7 ways. 5 of you, a group of moss caps, and 10 sails.
Sure.
10 Sails doesn't need it.
10 sails did
He
50
did a number
damage
on
to
it.
that second quill beast.
Yeah, but then he fell in the water.
No, this was
Florian did
this
that
was
one turn.
this was after he fell in the water.
Okay.
So while he was in the water, he discharged one of his magic items that he has to do immense damage to the creature.
Yeah, but he's an old fuddy duddy. Like, come on.
Just be honest, you just want Captain Eyes back. That's what you want.
Kind of do,
I mean,
yeah.
Captain Eyes I do miss Captain Eyes. He was kind of my favorite.
Like, bring back like far future Captain Razu.
Just like, why does Brick Road always put intensely cool pirate captains in his campaign? Is it some kind of weird bias? So,
I mean, could be.
I mean, given the choice of pirate captains, I kind of want Jade Bolt back.
Less bias, more fetish.
1,114 experience points.
1114. Okay.
Actually, 1,114.285714285714 repeating. But we'll just
that
round
means-
that up to 1114.
I didn't spend blips this week, did I?
Nobody spent any blips.
I have 6. These are all rolling into XP for me.
Everybody has 6 by my count. Which means I have to use much stronger monsters. Clearly, the encounters that I'm giving you are not difficult enough.
He
5d
says as he drops 2 players and 2 attacks.
5d12 claw attack.
Did you see that before or after you decided to use it?
Oh no! When I designed the encounter, I knew it was 5d12. It's just
You monster.
I'm like, that might be a typo, but I'm totally gonna roll with it.
Yeah, 5d1, right.
Which
makes
is
sense.
why I explained specifically how big and awful these claws looked at the beginning of the fight.
Hey, I ran away. It's not my fault they had 50 feet of movement.
40 feet. They had 40. I toned them down too. I took away their magic resistance. I took away their resistance to non-magical damage. Good old Toma Beasts. Can't wait for next week. Who wants to make a case for some blips?
I can go.
I heard Lucius first.
Alright, I had my alignment, lawful neutral, take your place in society, work well for your fellow people, take care of your own. Because because Lucius did make some points in that conversation with Captain Ten Sails about what's good for Dunfoss.
Mm-hmm.
I have knowledge is paramount for for lording over, not really lording over the knowledge that he had over Captain Ten Sails when he went onto the deck of the ship. But Lucius was very much like, yeah, information and knowledge is key, and that's all I have to offer right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have double or nothing for getting dropped by that thing, getting back up, getting his friend out of there, and then going back into the fray.
Just so you know, all my monsters from now on are to do 5d12.
No.
That's
5d12 healing damage on a swipe.
Gross.
Well, he did that with me one time. He almost blew me up.
Who's next?
That was it was Seeker that
Nodal,
spoke
I
up
think.
next.
Seeker, what you got?
Okay. I just got voluntold. Good is taking from those that can afford it. Chaos is taking them for all they're worth. For saving the people on the docks for free, but using my quasi-real horse-like creatures to get advertising for doing it. I've got opportunities everywhere, if you can see it, for getting a favor from Lord Morbo once Seeker saw the ship coming back in and realized what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got flaws. Anybody can be fooled except for me for sneaking my familiar onto the pirate ship and offering a 10 for how much danger I was willing to do so, incur in doing so.
So I actually rolled their perception, just none of them beat that. It was an outstanding stealth score.
Gus can go.
Gus.
I've got neutral good. I must be a benefactor and strive to leave things in a better state than I found it for using my first few actions to get the injured and civilians out of the way.
Okay.
Ideal, my companions are my support structure, and I must do what I can to protect them from themselves. For my gentle caressing of Seeker when he was doing his familiar stuff. Like this. I had him up over my shoulder. I was burping him.
Here's the problem: is now Seeker's not going to be able to sleep unless you're cuddling him.
Right.
Also, to be clear, I can't see or hear, but I can still feel.
Right. Also, I mean, but that's fine. We'll just put Seeker in some more of those bear pajamas, and I'll just.
Duck pajamas.
What you
Secure the
don't
duck.
know yet is Ten Sails has the same pajamas with a little butt flap that opens up in the back.
Well, we don't know if they're like +1 AC pajamas. And then the video, and that's all I got.
All right, who's next?
Not having much chance to get drunk.
Florian will go.
Florian, what's up? You sound
All right.
dissatisfied. Like
No,
I
no,
didn't
no,
take
very-
any damage that whole combat.
I assure you, sir,
Yeah.
I am very satisfied.
Okay.
True neutral. Sometimes you have laws, but laws are also restrictive. Sometimes you have to be good, but there's no way to define good. For just ignoring the moss caps and climbing over the wall.
To be fair, they ignored you too.
I seem to recall needing a stealth roll.
Yeah.
Ideals, there are infinite truths. We must experience as many as we can and figure out their validity for calling out the captain. I'm like, oh, I'm like this big hero. Oh, I want your endorsement. Oh, but you guys are so useless to me. Like,
He didn't say that.
whatever. He said a variant of that. Which is like, oh, don't overestimate your influence and your power. Like, dude, you just asked for our endorsement. Like, stop it. Let me tell you what's really going on. Flaws, there's always an explanation and we must always consider it for needlessly putting himself in danger to get a gold coin to see if it was all a trick.
So, Florian is all about experiencing infinite truths.
That is correct.
But it sounds very much like he has no interest in exploring Captain Tensail's truth. What Tensail considers to be true has Florian flummoxed, it seems.
I don't think...
In a more general sense, how does Florian react when his own truth is proven to be subservient to somebody else's truth? In other words, how does Florian handle being wrong?
See, but Florian doesn't think he's wrong.
Ah.
Florian's never been wrong.
That's really important. Whenever he's wrong, he just goes, oh, a new truth.
All right. So, next session, when Florian's out and about, and he starts hearing about how Flumph Inc. is endorsing Captain Tensails.
Ooh. How is Florian going to handle that, huh?
He's never wrong. He's just differently correct.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will find out.
Alexander, what do you got for me?
So, lawful neutral, always be willing to take the law into your own hands for no further, for being fully willing to sign up for the plan where he comes up with a contract where you can vote out the king.
Okay.
Seems perfectly fine to Alex.
Now,
And
there is
Flaw, I'm
there is
sure we
already.
can handle it. Sorry, what was that?
Just to clarify about the king, there is a process in place by which a king can be removed.
Yep.
It requires the court that placed the king into power essentially to hold a vote of no confidence, which hasn't happened since time immemorial, as far as anybody knows. Please continue.
And then Flaw, I'm sure we can handle this for his performance during that combat, just running in as fast as he can, which is not very fast until he gets hasted.
I also noticed you were speaking super fast, so I want you to know I caught that.
I'm very happy for that.
Caught it too, yeah.
I'm very happy.
Who had the most creative solution to a problem?
That was
I think I took that.
that was
Or-
Seeker for just pushing the turn economy to the limit and just trying all the bullshit he could to save as many people and move
Yeah.
that one boat.
And who furthered the party's goals the most?
That was
Lucius, Lucius for getting up on the ship and getting basically the party's foot in the door with 10 sails.
So this encounter originally was going to happen in West Harbor. Because I didn't think anybody had the resources to fly out to his boat, for one thing.
I'm sorry, Rick Road.
Never apologize. What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
it's true. Yeah.
regret, learn nothing.
I feel like I channeled my inner Nodal for a little bit there.
I have an inner Nodal, but it just gives me indigestion. Who was the badass this week? I mean, besides Captain Ten Sails, obviously.
Captain Ten Sails fell off of a boat. Not very badass. We gave that to
Yeah.
Gus.
Captain Ten Sails knocked a monster into the water and then followed it down to murder the monster. That's what he did.
None of that was seen by anybody, so it
Didn't happen.
I heard a big old splash as Captain Ten Sails fell ass into the water.
So the entire next session is just going to be about how awesome Captain Ten Sails is, and none of you are going to be allowed to speak the entire time.
I want you all to know about my OC, Reese.
Captain Reese.
All Reese did was turn into a sheep, and it was hilarious.
Great Pyre has a long body and a ravenous mouth.
All right, so I'll ask, which of you was the very distant second badass?
Well, the second was probably Seeker, but first
Was
we
Captain
gave
Ten
that to
Sails?
Gus for putting himself in the middle between
Harm's way.
the monsters and the civilians.
I did have in there in the encounter notes that the creatures would always try to split their attack if they were able. I think if I didn't have that note in there, I probably would have been able to drop Gus. Because I think there were 2 or 3 attacks that I wasn't able to hit him with because they had to split their attack. Also, the monster originally has an ability where if it doesn't move on its turn, it gets advantage on its attack roll with its claws. And
Hold on.
I took
I
that
don't
away from
remember
it.
splitting an attack on me.
it only hits you once.
It only hit you once.
It only hit him once for like a mega crit.
It's got 2 of those?
No, it has a claw and a bite.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
The
jeez.
bite, I think, is 3d12, and the claw is 5d12.
Jeez.
Buy the book, and you could use it on your players. I'd highly recommend it. We give 1 for intangibles, if you don't mind.
Florian for his indignity at Captain Ten Sails.
It's impassioned
now it-
speech.
Now it's indignity. Before it was a rant.
It's impassioned.
It was very
impassioned.
impassioned.
An impassioned, indignant rant.
And Lucius has our straw poll this week.
Yay! Thank you, everybody.
Are we level 6 or are we still level 5?
We're 5 for now.
5.
So blips are worth 250, and everybody has to roll these over. Alex is rolling 2. Florian is rolling 4. Gus is rolling 4. Lucius is rolling 5, and Seeker's rolling 4. And next week we will pick this up and find out what the hell Oswald wants. And see if you guys can finish solving 53 riddles. All right,
We're
that's
gonna
it.
sit home and bang these riddles out.
Class dismissed. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for playing. See you next time.